I've always said the key to success is knowing what not to do. In other words, if you're a creative person, you will have many more ideas than you can actually focus on and accomplish successfully. And the key is which ones not to do. And how you make those decisions by really analyzing all the pros and cons of all the opportunities and saying, this one gives me, it could be more joy. At certain times in your career, it could be because it gives me more financial stability. It could be because it makes me feel good because I'm doing something for kids. I mean, it could be any reason. But the importance of the broad-based concept is that, then you can do it. It's like a great musician develops a certain level of technique, not to be able to show off the technique, but when an idea comes into their head, especially in the jazz area where you're doing a lot of improvisation, that you have the facility to execute the idea. So the idea and the music becomes the important thing. The technique gives you the tool to be able to execute it. And I think it's the same thing in business. The more background that you have, the more understanding you have. And you can look at something and say, this is a great idea. I tried it 20 years ago and it didn't work. Now, what has changed that maybe it'll work now? And what do we need to do to tweak it to make it work now? So the more background, the better. The choice of what direction to go in, the most difficult. But I think the biggest fault is trying to do too many things. So in a way, I'm saying get as broad a base as you can get, but then again, I'm saying then hone it in. You never know where that experience that you have will become something important in your career. I'll tell you a little story that was cute for me, worked out to be very interesting. When I was teaching in college, there were exemptions from the Army based on age, based on marriage, etc. And then at one point, that changed in the early 60s because they needed more men, and those exemptions were leaving. And I got called by the president of the college into his office, and he said, next year you're going to be teaching the recorder. I said, I'm going to be doing what? He said, you're going to teach the recorder to students in the college who are not music majors, who are elementary school classroom majors, who are going to be teaching music as part of the classroom activity. And I said, I'm a percussionist, I'm a composer. I said, He said, no, this is what you're going to do. And I said, and why am I going to do this? And he said, because then I'm going to be able to write on your form that you are training the future teachers of science and math, and I don't want you to be drafted. I want you to be here teaching at our college. So I did my homework. I learned about recorder, I learned how to teach it, learned a little bit about it. And today, as a composer, as an author, the most successful books, or some of the most successful books that I have written, are books to teach recorder. So it was amazing that experience then 20 years later when I was writing books and we said, boy, we really need a good recorder book. I said, wait, I know how to do that. Let me pull together my composing talent, my other talent, but with my knowledge of what I learned while I was working with those young students 20 years before. And it turned out to be really special. So it was great. So you never know when that experience is going to come in handy.